Greetings, my peeps, and welcome to the All Things Basketball Podcast with the boy GD. In this episode, the NBA schedule is out, so we'll go through all the particulars. Of course, I'll cover opening weekend, also Christmas Day, payday, when the All-Star weekend is, also international games, and then I'll do my breakdown of the national schedule for each team, and then I'm going to delve into the Knicks schedule. All that and more. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, guys, it's your boy GD back with the All Things Basketball with GD podcast. And guys, the summer seemed like you got a few weeks now, but officially a month or so of the summer left. It always goes so quick, guys. I mean, it just whizzes by. But nonetheless, it's August, so you know what that means? The NBA schedule. It has come out, guys, and you know there's been a lot of complaints, a lot of belly aching about the schedule. We'll go into that and more as we look over things. But guys, it is here, so we will go through it. Without any further delay, let's get into it. Now, guys, of course, you'll have the training camps that start the end of September. And then your official preseason games will begin on October 3rd, and that will run until October 16th. So you'll have the teams, they play about 3 or 4 games. And you have some international games, guys. Up in Canada, you'll have the Toronto Raptors, of course, having their games, which they're calling them international. But Miami will visit Toronto on October 3rd, and that'll be NBA Canada. And then on the 10th of October, you'll have the LA Clippers facing the Toronto Raptors. Very interesting, being that we're still in the dark about the whole Kawhi Leonard thing. Now, also, the league will have 2 games in China, and that will be between the Houston Rockets and the Dallas Mavericks. The first leg of the game, October 9th, and then 2 days later, you'll have Dallas and Houston getting into it again in China. And that's on October 11th, guys. Now, bear in mind, those are going to be early games because of the time difference. The one on the 9th will be at 8 a.m., and then the one on the 11th will be 6 a.m. So you got the early riser to catch those games if you want to witness NBA basketball in China. So KD will be over there in China facing Cooper Flag and the Dallas Mavericks. So a little Texas cooking out there in the Far East. So that is your preseason for the most part. Let's talk about opening week because it starts on a Tuesday. So we'll say opening week. So it will start on Tuesday, October 20th, guys. That will be your very first game. And the first game, I couldn't believe this. The Boston Celtics on the road taking on the Detroit Pistons. Start time, 3 p.m. And they'll be on NBC. I looked at it, I thought it was a misprint. But no, this is true, guys. 3 p.m. in Detroit on October 20th. I'm like, what are y'all doing? A game that early in the day? What's up with that? Yeah, I'm scratching my head over that one. And then if you're a Boston fan, you gotta make time during the day to see your Celtics, as well as Detroit fan as well. And the Detroit fan may have it worse because if you're a season ticket holder, you're gonna have to cut out of work and go see that. Very strange, guys. But yeah, actually, my nephew said this. The NBA tries to squeeze every nickel. Well, I usually reserve that for the NFL, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so they're going to have this early start time, guys. Then in the evening, you will have the New York Knicks playing the Philadelphia 76ers at Madison Square Garden. And that game will be at 7 p.m. on NBC. And guys, that will be the night of the ring ceremony and the banner ceremony where they raise it to the Raptors, the championship banner. And that's going to be a emotional night for many a Knicks fan, myself included. So, of course, that is must-see TV. And then, of course, the schedule makers, they want all eyeballs on that game. So they have them play the new look Philadelphia 76ers. So that is your first game, guys. And then at 9:30 on NBC, you have the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the San Antonio Spurs. And that will be a 9:30 tip, and that'll be on NBC. So they're just teeing this thing up, guys. They're just teeing it up nicely for the San Antonio Spurs to start this season. And then that rivalry was a big-time rivalry last season with the Spurs getting the upper hand, not only in the regular season, also in the playoffs as well. So, yes, San Antonio will be hosting that game, by the way. So, that is opening night, guys. Now, the 21st, which is the Wednesday, you'll have a slate of 11 games. Now, the first night, you only have the 3, the ones I told you about. On the 21st, you'll have 11 games, but you'll have 2 games that'll be on ESPN, guys. You're going to have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Miami Heat, and that's going to be in Miami, guys. 7:30 tip-off on ESPN. Well, on NBC, you'll have the guys over there. You'll have Melo there. You'll have Vince Carter. You'll have Tracy McGrady. And then, of course, quarterbacking that on NBC is Maria Taylor. Then ESPN, of course, you will have Inside the NBA. They'll be back at it on the 21st, guys. So you'll have them. And like I said, Minnesota taking on the Miami Heat. Of course, we know Miami has Giannis Antetokounmpo now, whereas the Minnesota Timberwolves have the new backcourt of Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball. So that should be a treat to watch. And then in the late game at 10 o'clock, you'll have the Golden State Warriors going to the Crypto Center to play the LA Lakers. 10 o'clock tip-off, ESPN. Oh, by the way, the Lakers are under new ownership. I'll get into that more on a separate episode because I got some NBA stuff I got to tackle. But 10 o'clock, ESPN is Golden State taking on the Lakers. And then we'll have the October 22nd slate. Only 2 games that night, guys, on a Thursday. And that too will be ESPN. And that'll be the Cleveland Cavaliers going to Philly to take on the 76ers. So 76ers, their home opener, and they'll be taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. And again, you're talking rivalry there. The fact that LeBron chose Philly over Cleveland, but the game will be. So that's your first game at 7 o'clock. And then 9:30 on ESPN, you'll have the Denver Nuggets going to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Oklahoma City will have their home opener that night on ESPN, taking on the Nuggets, of course, with the Joker, Jamal Murray, and those guys taking on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So P-type players on each side, well, one on each side in that game. So that's your Thursday slate. Then Friday will be Amazon Prime night. So the 23rd, the New York Knicks will go to the Boston Celtics to face them. And that'll be a 7 o'clock start, guys, on a night where they have 12 games. So you'll have a full slate of games. But the Knicks taking on Boston on the road. And then in the 9:30 game on Amazon Prime, you will have the Houston Rockets taking on the San Antonio Spurs. And that will be in San Antonio. 9:30 start, guys. So KD taking on Wemby in the Spurs. And like I said, 9:30 start for that game. And then October 24th, that'll be Saturday, guys. You'll have 8 games on the schedule. Nothing that is on national TV. So it'll all be games on their respective networks. The highlight games for me is the Houston Rockets. They'll be on a back-to-back, guys. And they'll be going to Atlanta to face the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks, we know, gave the Knicks the business in the first round. And they're revamped as far as the season goes. So they'll be taking on Houston. That's at 8 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock, guys, Golden State going to take on the Phoenix Suns at Footprint Arena out there in Arizona. That's a 10 o'clock start. But that Saturday, 8 games. These are the 2 games that kind of caught my eye as far as that goes. And then Sunday, wrapping up the week, you'll have 7 games on the schedule that Sunday. The games that stand out, the Orlando Magic going to the Garden to take on the New York Knicks. And that's a 7 o'clock start. Orlando, you know, they were injury-riddled last year. They have Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and those guys there taking on the defending champions, the New York Knicks. 7 o'clock start. And then a 7:30 start. The Detroit Pistons going to the Philadelphia 76ers. And that's a 7:30 start. So those are the 2 games that stand out in that 7-game schedule, at least to me, guys. All right, guys, so let me break down for you the way it shakes out each night as far as nationally televised games go. Sunday night, you'll have ABC. From Christmas on, you'll get games on ABC. So that's Sunday. And then also you have NBC and Peacock. They'll also have Sunday games as well. So you have 2 networks there. Monday nights is reserved for Peacock and NBC Sports Network. So they'll be in conjunction where you can watch it streaming or you watch it on NBC Sports Network. And then Tuesday, that will be on broadcast TV, NBC, but you can also stream it on Peacock. Wednesday, that's an ESPN night, guys. Thursday is a Amazon Prime night where you'll get games there. I wonder how that will work with the NFL schedule, because the NFL usually has Prime games as well. Interesting. Friday, you'll have Amazon Prime, also ESPN, so you can have it on either one of those networks. And then Saturday will be it's also Prime, either Prime or ABC. Like I said, ABC usually around Christmas and after you'll get games on ABC. So after the Christmas slate of games, Saturdays, you'll get an ABC game. So that's how the national TV schedule looks as far as that goes. Let's continue. And then remember, guys, on Election Day, there are no NBA games. They've done this for the past few years, and they've done it in an effort for folks to get out there and be able to vote without worrying about having to attend NBA games. So kudos to them for still sticking with that. Now, the NBA Cup. And we know last year the Knicks won the NBA Cup. This year it starts on October 30th and it runs until November 27th. And these are the nights that it's on. October 30th, November 6th, November 13th, November 20th. You have it on back-to-back nights, the 24th and the 25th of November, and then the 27th of November. They'll be bracketed. So there'll be 6 divisions and 5 teams within it. Whoever comes out of that division there will be slated for the quarterfinals with 2 wild card teams. So you'll have the quarterfinals, then you'll have the semifinals, and then your finals. Quarterfinals consist of December 4th and 5th. The Cup semifinals could be either on December 8th or 9th, and then the Cup finals is on December 11th. So remember, the teams that are involved in those, whatever their schedule is, that'll get pushed to the side while they compete in these NBA Cup games. So compare that in mind. All right, guys, so let us move on to Christmas Day. Christmas Day, you have your 5 games as normal, guys, starting at noon. And usually, guys, it's a simulcast. So you'll have it on 2 networks, ABC and ESPN. First game on the schedule for Christmas. The San Antonio Spurs coming to New York to take on the New York Knicks. Of course, that was your NBA Finals from a season ago. So, noon, the Spurs face the Knicks, guys. So that's your very first game. And then game 2, the Miami Heat taking on the Boston Celtics in Boston. That's a 12:30 start, guys. And then your middle game, your game 3, the Philadelphia 76ers, they're facing the LA Lakers. So LeBron goes back to LA. His first game back in LA, but as a Sixer, will be on Christmas Day. 5 o'clock start, guys. And then at 8 o'clock, you'll have the Oklahoma City Thunder going to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. Again, an 8 o'clock start for that game. And then the nightcap, 10:30, the Denver Nuggets going to the Golden State Warriors, to the Chase Center in San Francisco. So that is your Christmas Day schedule, guys. So chock full of very interesting games. And then remember, too, guys, the NFL, they got to have their greedy hands and everything. They now have 3 games slated for Christmas. So, yeah, take with that what you will. But they're on Christmas as well. Let us move on. MLK Day, guys. And that's on January 18th, 2027. There will be 7 games on the schedule for that day, with the first game being Detroit Pistons going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that's a 12 o'clock start, guys. All the games will be on NBC for MLK Day. Like I said, Detroit facing the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland. And then at 2:30, the Philadelphia 76ers, seem like they're on all the time, right, guys? They're going to Atlanta to face the Hawks. Remember now, the Atlanta Hawks, the city of Atlanta, basically, is where Martin Luther King, he has his church there, and he's really made his imprint there in Atlanta. So Atlanta gets that game facing the Sixers, 2:30 start. And then at 5 o'clock, the Minnesota Timberwolves come to New York to face the Knicks. So the Knicks get their MLK Day game, 5 o'clock against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then in the late game, which is 7:30, the Houston Rockets will face the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies, one of their few nationally televised games. It'll be on NBC Sports Network. And then remember, too, Martin Luther King also, he spent time in Memphis as well. So apropos to have this game in Memphis also, bearing that in mind. So, like I said, that will be a 7:30 start on NBC Sports Network. All right, guys, let us move on a bit. The trade deadline will be on February 11th. So less than a month after the MLK Day game, you will have your trade deadline. Usually falls on a Thursday. So Thursday afternoon will be the deadline there. So I'm sure there'll be some moving and shaking around that time. And then President's Day, guys. The NBA is scheduling games for those days. And those games will be on NBC. All but one will be on NBC. The latter one will be on NBC Sports Network. So President's Day, you actually have 8 games on the schedule. But these are the games that'll be on national TV. The Minnesota Timberwolves going to the Charlotte Hornets. And this will be LaMelo Ball return back to Charlotte in this game. 12 o'clock start. Then 2:30, Philadelphia 76ers. And they'll be going to Dallas to face the Mavericks. 2:30 start. San Antonio Spurs heading to South Beach to play the Miami Heat. And that's a 5 o'clock start, guys. And then your last game, the Indiana Pacers going to Golden State to face the Warriors. And that is a 7:30 start. on NBC Sports Network. So there you go there. All right, guys. So let us continue. All-Star Weekend will be a few days after President's Day, guys. It'll start on February 19th, that Friday, guys. You have the celebrity game, then you have your rookies taking on the sophomores. But actually, it used to be that way. But now they draft them, they put them on different teams. Then you got the G League team that competes in this as well. But that'll be on the Friday. Saturday, of course, is All-Star Saturday, where you get the skills challenge, three-point contest, and dunk contest. Saturday. And then Sunday, the big game, the All-Star game. Now, it sounds like they're going to stick with what they did last year with the 8 players on the one ball club and do it that way. It seems like they're sticking to that. Still too early to tell, but that's kind of where it is as far as that goes. And it will be in Phoenix, Arizona. So maybe I'll try and make a trip out there to Phoenix. We'll see. I got time to think about it. A little bit of time. Okay. All right. So that is All-Star Weekend. Your international games, guys. You have 3 on the slate. November 7th, the Denver Nuggets will take on the Indiana Pacers. And that game will be in Mexico City, guys. And that will be at 5 o'clock. So Mexico City will get the Nuggets versus the Pacers. On January 14th, you'll have the San Antonio Spurs taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. And that's going to be in Paris. So we get our Paris game where Wemby goes back to France. And that game will be at 2 o'clock on January 14th. And then 3 days later, you get the same matchup, the Spurs and the Pelicans, but this time in Manchester, England. And that is a 10:30 start. Not at night, in the morning, guys. So you got to rise up early for that one. So those are your 3 international games as far as that goes. Now, the national TV schedule. Of course, the networks will be ABC, ESPN, NBC, NBC Sports Network, and also Amazon Prime. So I was looking up and down the schedule. I didn't see anything as far as NBA TV goes. So it seems like NBA TV will be broadcasting a game after it happens. I'm not sure if they're broadcasting live games. We'll see. But that's your national games as far as that goes. I did a breakdown of this, guys. So here's what it's looking like. You have the teams with the most games nationally televised. It's a tie between 4 teams, guys. Your defending champion, the New York Knicks, will have 34 nationally televised games. The Philadelphia 76ers, surprise, surprise, also 34 games. The San Antonio Spurs with Victor Wembanyama, and of course, the team was the defending Western Conference champs, so they have 34 games. And then the LA Lakers. I'm surprised. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. It's the Lakers, so that's just, it's baked into the cake, basically, no matter who they're putting on the floor. So 34 games for them. So 4 teams with 34 games. Next on the list, guys, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and rightfully so, with 30 nationally televised games. Next, with 28 games, 2 teams, the Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics. So Boston, although you lose a guy like Jaylen Brown, you're still getting the national notoriety, and 28 games for you. And then, of course, 28 games that you get of the Joker. Well, you would hope he's in on all 28 of the nationally televised games, at least for the Denver Nuggets. And then two teams tied with 26, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the new look Timberwolves, who now has LaMelo Ball in the fold, and 26 games for Golden State Warriors. You still got Steph over there, so you know he'll be a national draw guy. So that's the way that goes. 25 games nationally televised. The Miami Heat now with Giannis Antetokounmpo signed and sealed with that team. So now you get 25 games. I'm sure that's up from last year for Miami. Coming in at 21 games, two teams that's tied for this. The Houston Rockets, of course, you have Kevin Durant there, Alperen Sengun, and those guys. You'll have a Fred VanVleet back. And the Dallas Mavericks. So you're going to get to see Cooper Flag, but Dallas, they're getting their shine. They're getting their looks. So 21 games for Dallas. At 18 games, the Detroit Pistons. So your Eastern Conference, your top team in the East with 18 games. So it's saying to me they expect the Pistons to kind of tumble down the standings a bit. And we still don't know what's happening with Jalen Duren. He's still unsigned as of this moment. So there's that. With 17 nationally televised games, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, remember, they're in limbo with James Harden. You figure he's signing, but I don't know what the holdup is. So there you go there. And then with 11 games, it's the Indiana Pacers and the Portland Trailblazers. I'm actually surprised by this. That given what happened with Indiana last year, they only finished 19-63. But remember, they're getting Tyrese Haliburton back, so I expect them to bounce back. And then Portland Trailblazers, they're going to get Dame back. They also have Ja Morant, so you have a few guys that people want to get a look at. My only thing was you changed the coaching staff, so do I expect them to do what they did last year? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. So 11 games, that's fair. You know who's not happy with the 11 games on national TV? Hey, Mr. Tyrese Haliburton. In fact, I'm going to play for you what he said. This is Tyrese Haliburton. Not happy about the only 11 games that he's getting.
Name any other person that you compare to my level of a basketball player, wherever you have me ranked. If they tore their Achilles and missed 16 months, do you think that game would be on national television? Yeah. I think so? Sure. Yeah. Do you think that game would be at home if not on national television? For sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Do you think that game would be at New Orleans? Wait, what? Oh, your first game? Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. When I saw the schedule, I was like, oh, wow. Trey Murphy. But I was shocked to see that. But we move on.
So that's Tyrese Haliburton complaining about his first game back will be against the New Orleans Pelicans. He thought it should be a marquee matchup. I hear you. Is the NBA thinking that way? Apparently not, because they didn't schedule you guys. So, hey, here's what you do. You take that, you use that as fuel for the season, or whatever you want to do with that. That's fine. So, Haliburton has a problem with being disrespected as far as the schedule goes. So, take with that what you will. At 9 nationally televised games, you have 3 teams. The Atlanta Hawks, the LA Clippers, and the Phoenix Suns. I say this is fine for an Atlanta team. That's fine. For the Clippers, that's fine. Supposedly, as far as Kawhi goes, not sure what happens with that, but if things shake out the way it shakes out, Clippers are going to have more nationally televised games than Toronto. I'll get to Toronto in a second. And then Phoenix Suns. Of course, you have Devin Booker there. With 8 games, the Orlando Magic. They did get hit by the injury bug last year, so I'm sure that factored into things. But 8 games for Orlando, so yeah. What can you do? And then with 7, the Toronto Raptors. Now, like I said, I think the league was betwixt and between. I'm sure they wanted to give them more nationally televised games, but this whole probe they're doing with Kawhi, I'm sure didn't help matters. So this is the hand that they're dealt. Anyhow, so they only get 7. The Charlotte Hornets, the Utah Jazz, which that's up from last year, and the Washington Wizards. Now, these are 3 teams with up-and-coming players on their squads. Charlotte with Con Knipple, with Brandon Miller. And then you have Utah. You got the young man, Darren Peterson. You got him there. And then also in Utah, you have Jaren Jackson Jr. So there you go there. And then Washington, you have the first overall pick in AJ DePonsa. You have him, Trae Young, Anthony Davis. So is this kind of low? Yeah, but you can't put everybody on national TV, obviously. So 6, that's a fair number to start for them. And then you got your lower teams. You got 5 teams with only 2 nationally televised games. The Pelicans, New Orleans Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Brooklyn Nets. And then Chicago gets 3 nationally televised games. So that is your national television schedule for all the teams. Now for the Knicks. As I said, they're tied with 3 other teams with 34 nationally televised games. They have 12 back-to-backs, guys, which that's a fair number. Now, in terms of their road trips and things of that nature, their longest road trip is really like they have a 5-game road trip, and that takes place early December. They'll have 2 road games against the Chicago Bulls and the Milwaukee Bucks. And then you have the Cup quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals sandwiched in between there. So we don't know if they'll be a participant or not. And then they have 5 games after that. Miami, Houston, New Orleans, Washington, Cleveland. And then they have their West trip. The first one takes place right around the end of December, stretching into the first week of January, facing the Utah Jazz, Phoenix, Denver, Portland, Golden State, and Sacramento. And then their second West trip will be when it usually is March, right around the Big East tournament that happens at Madison Square Garden. So that'll be March 4th through March 11th. They face Dallas, San Antonio, the Clippers, and the Lakers. So not too daunting a road trip. And then they have 4 homestands, guys. 3 of them 4 games, 1 3 games. And then the Mitchell Robinson game, his return to Madison Square Garden. Do you know that's happening so late in the season? March 14th, a 12 o'clock game. That's when that's happening. I'm like, wow. That's when he'll make his return to the Garden. Kind of late in the season, but people will grab up those tickets and they'll want to wish him well. He'll have his highlight reel and they'll shower him with love that night. So March 14th, mark it down, Knicks fans. Mitchell Robinson returns to the Garden. Now, people wanted to make big thing of the Philadelphia 76ers schedule. I looked at it. They have the 34 games on national televised. They are nationally televised like the Knicks. They have 12 back-to-backs just like the Knicks. They have 2 West trips. One in late December and then the other in late March. So I don't see too many long road trips for them. That's another thing. So take with that what you will. I'm not going to go crazy about the Sixers that they have LeBron and now they're catering the schedule towards him. And like I said, 12 back-to-backs. The Knicks have 12 backs-to-backs. So take with that what you will. I'm not going to go crazy over it. That's how they want to schedule it. That's fine. I'm not going to go crazy. So there you go. All right, guys. I think that's it as far as that goes. I got other news, but I'll cover that in another episode. All Things Basketball with GD.com is the website. There you find my clips, my full episodes. Also, guys, be a supporter of the show. I have 3 buttons on my website. You can do that. PayPal, buy me a coffee, Spotify, donate. Then my Cash App, guys, $GD, that sports stew. It's usually in the scroll there. $GD, that sports stew. Email the show, allthingsbasketballgd at outlook.com. Email the show, guys. And anything of interest, I'll read on the air. Also, guys, as far as YouTube channel, I have that. Substack, I'm on there, guys. allthingsbasketballgd.substack.com. You can find me there. And social media, Instagram, TikTok, some Blue Sky, some Facebook. That's really it. Thank you for listening, guys. As always, Hall of Fame inductions, I want to talk about that. Russell Westbrook retiring, I want to talk about that. Possible Hall of Fame inductees, I want to talk about that. Whole lot more. Diana Taurasi, she retires, I want to talk about that. All that and more, it'll be coming up. So I thank you for listening. As always, guys, we'll talk soon. Take care.